Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to paint a fun, colorful little doodle page. Um, I wanted some oranges and yellows because that's always just so bright and sunshiny and makes me happy. And I've got, what do I have? I have like a dark pink, almost a magenta. And then that is a purple. So let me tell you, I mess up all the time. I'm going along, I'm happy with the colors, I'm just flipping around the paintbrush, just trying to spread the colors around. I don't want them all in one place. And then I put that purple on, and it is so dark, and that just kind of ruins the whole feel. That's not what I was going for. But I knew I can fix it. The easy fix is gesso. So what I did was I made a little fine wash, which is just gesso watered down, and I went over the whole page just to lighten it up some, and then that kind of seals things also. And then I knew I can paint over it, with my bright colors again to kind of tone it back some. If I was thinking smart, I would have made the gesso wash a little darker, because it still came out a little darker than I was expecting or hoping for or had envisioned. But as we all know, things don't always turn out as we envision. The page kind of takes us where it wants to go. And I didn't worry, I just let it go. But you can see just that purple blob. It just doesn't fit. So I'm just trying to cover it up with some different paints. And I knew, once I painted some stuff over it, then it'll be good to go. Now I've got a huge, probably like a gallon or a half-gallon size jug of gesso, and it's just too big to carry around. So I put it in this used pickle jar, and it keeps really well because that jar is over 2 years old and it hasn't hardened at all. So that is just a tip if you want to buy a big jug that's economical and then store it in something smaller. I had stored it in like plastic containers before, and it got nasty and yellowy and ooey gooey, and I had to toss it. So the glass jar seems to keep it fresh. So here you see me just kind of randomly mopping over. I'm trying to get some yellow in it to brighten it back up, but the yellow just kind of fades into the orange, and I'm drying at the same time, trying to multitask. So here I'm like, okay, this is good enough. I'm just going to go with it and just start decorating the page. And what I wanted to do was just do some branches or vines. That's the word I've been looking for, vines with leaves on them. And some big old white daisies, thinking that'll brighten the page up. And in the end, you'll see the transformation. And it's always amazing to me to see, this first, the background, and then look at it and see the finished picture. It's just, wow. So I think people call this like the ugly phase. And because it's kind of like, not too exciting yet. But just wait, give yourself a chance to finish adding all the little elements, doodads, and bright colors, and you'll surprise yourself. You'll like your picture in the end. So don't give up. I don't even worry about that anymore. I guess I've been doing it for a couple of months, and I know I did it a couple years ago where it was just so freeing because I was such a perfectionist, and I was like, I don't have to worry that my lines aren't straight, my leaves aren't perfect. I'm having a hard time with this one to get good points on the ends of leaves. So I tried twirling the brush at the end, and that kind of gives me more of a point. I don't know whether or not it's the paint, it's my brush, or it's just the day. You know, it happens. I do realize that, or I did realize that, I like putting the little bitty stems where the leaves are going to go, and that just helps me get a better point, and to me it looks better than just attaching the leaf to the big stem part. But of course I forgot for the first 4 leaves. And I didn't go back to fix it. It's just not worth it. So you'll see me just touch up the paint. You can't really see it on camera, but it's a thin layer and I can see the background through it. So even though I'm going to probably add some more layers onto the leaves, I at least want a good solid leaf to work on. And that is my thought process. And that background still looks pretty dark. I guess I had seen something and it was just really bright, really light colors, and I could have added white to the colors to brighten them up, because these are kind of darkish colors. Like I said, once I start layering on like the white and other little embellishments, it comes together and I don't mind it. And especially when you start adding like white dots, that's really going to brighten up the background and push it back, So here I am just trying to practice my leaves. I'm not making them the same size. I'm trying to twirl some. I'm trying to have some like twisted, because in nature that's the way they are, right? And it's less stress for me trying to make them all the same. So I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to think, well, which way can I twirl it this time? And you can see me twisting the brush right at the end to get a better point. Maybe I didn't have the paint watered down enough, so it wasn't spreading well enough. I never know from day to day what's going on. So I just continue. So hopefully you guys are enjoying these. I know several people had asked how I do them, or did I make tutorials. And it's sometimes hard to find tutorials on YouTube, especially ones that are free. Well, I guess they're all free on YouTube, but they'll tell you to go watch the class. And I did buy a class from Suzanne Allard, Allard, and she showed up on my Facebook news feed, and that did help me with how to do the flowers, the roses, how to swirl. But I had already learned how to do all the background stuff, but it still helped, so it was worth it. And it gives me a lot of inspiration with the paintings that they do, so I know what I can do next, And I just save every picture that I like. It might be the colors, it might be the composition that I like, or it might be a new type of flower that I want to experiment and try to make, just to see if I can do it and figure out how they did it. And that's the fun for me, It's a little challenge. And I think once I feel comfortable doing what craft I'm doing, then all of a sudden something clicks and it's like, okay, it's good enough, let's try something else. And I want to relearn again because I have no memory. So in a couple of years, I'll probably take this back up again and have to relearn everything all over again. So that's just the way my brain is. So here I am making the big old white daisies. I'm going for just a straight line instead of the curved edge, just to make it look, a little whimsical. But I call them daisies just to help you imagine what they are. And I have a little trouble sometimes with the Posca pens. Well, this is a different ink pen or acrylic paint pen. And it wants to smear, or it's not coming through clear enough. So you'll see me just go over and push the nib in several times on my little palette plate. I got that white palette plate from Hobby Lobby when I was there a couple days ago, well, last week. And people have used like ceramic dishes or bakers. I forget what they call them, but they're like real expensive. So this one was less than 10, so I got it, and it's just plastic. But I like that it has the edge, so that if I need to wipe excess paint off, I can just use the edge to scrape the brush on. It's large enough, but not too big. I had the normal typical painter's palette, that round thing with the thumb hole, and that was just way too big, and I was always afraid I was going to knock it off the table. And as soon as I'm done painting, I take this plate straight to the sink, run hot water on it, and I have a little scrubby brush, and the paint comes right off. And then I also make sure to wash my paint brushes just with soap and water, cold water, not hot water. And you have to take care of them. I have to do it right away, otherwise I'll forget. I don't want to leave it overnight and they get hard and ruined. And if that does happen, like it happened before, I know to soak them now in a little jar with Murphy's oil. That little Murphy's oil soap. You just fill it enough to cover the bristles and just let it soak for however many hours you want, and that just kind of works in and helps dissolve all that old acrylic paint that's in it. Then you just rinse them out really good. So there's another helpful tip that I've learned through all these wonderful YouTube tutorials. So here's some more decorating time. I used the other side of this pen and it was dark on that first leaf, which is weird because it's supposed to be the same ink. And that's done it to me with the purple one too. So I just let that leaf dry before I come back to it while I'm just, doing a little outline. And that green just really makes it pop. It's almost blinding when I look at it now. Well, that's what I want. I want things to pop. And you can see that dark background just being pushed back and fading into the background. You won't even know it's there later on. Or that it was a boo-boo, So I like doing the polka dots. I do it on the vine. I do it on the little vine pieces, going to the leaves. I don't know if you can see that well enough. And then, you just put dots inside of dots inside of dots and just build up color, and until you like it and you're satisfied with it and the page says, okay, no more, I can't handle it, it's good enough. Or whatever your page tells you, might be different than my page. My page is very sarcastic when it talks to me. So I'm just having fun with these acrylic paint pens. I got them on Amazon, and I've talked about them in the other videos. They have the 3 nibs, the bullet, the chisel, and that little pointy one. And I still have my Posca pens. I just grabbed these first because they're just there. I have it hanging on one of those little hanging cups that I got from IKEA. Well, I got it off of Amazon through IKEA. Or through IKEA from Amazon. However, I am babbling. Shut me up now. Okay. And I hang it on my little 3-tier cart that I got from Michael's. There. So here you see me just adding circles around the circles and some squares. And then I remembered to go over what I've already put down. Meaning cover up the leaves if I want to, just build up the layers. My brain was always, no, things can't touch, just like your food. I don't want the hot touching the cold or the runny touching the dry, the bread, So I have to tell myself it's okay to cover up. That was the whole purpose of things, layer up. Go over the leaves. The leaves are kind of part of the background in a way. The flowers or more focal point maybe here, even though I can still cover up, a petal with one of these doodads. I don't know what you call these. Squares, circles, embellishments. So as I'm finishing one thing, I'm looking, is there a space that needs something else? So I'll add it, those 2 dots up there. There's going to be flowers. And sometimes I'll have problems with the next color. It didn't show up well enough on that background. So I'll switch pens until I find one that'll show up, and I believe it's the black pen that'll finally show up well when I outline the circles. Are they amoebas? Yeah, that could be amoebas. See, that color didn't work. And that was a reddish brown. And so I believe that's the black one. And that did. So now you see how the picture is. The white has really made things pop. The green veins, so to speak, on the leaves have really brought them to the foreground and made it pop. But I feel like it still needs more. So guess what? We're going to be doing some dots. First I go in with some white dots with the little pointy end of the pen, and then later on I'm like, no, they're not big enough. And normally they would be, but something just said no, I wanted them bigger, so I turned the pen around and I went over the dots with the big nib, and I was more happy with that. I don't know why, but I went with it. And then as I was going over it, I was remembering, hey, go over the vine some, It doesn't have to be in the foreground. The dots can be in the foreground to really make it pop. Here I'm adding some yellow dashes, trying to bring some of that light yellow color back that I couldn't get on the background, which is now a good thing because these show up a lot better now, covering up the background. See, there was a method to the madness, right? You never know. So I thought of putting, in the vein in the leaf, and I thought, well, let me do that stitch that I did with the last leaves. I kind of like that, and since it already had straight lines, so let's do the dashes, and that'll break it up some, and it'll just be a different element instead of more straight lines. Just trying to change things up a bit. Sometimes it takes me a while to remember, what different things can go on it. And here I was actually bold enough to bring back some purple, since it is way in the background now. And here I'm, making the little white dots bigger, and I start touching the vine and going over it, and I'm liking it, better. So that's just something to do, finish the thing, sit back. What needs more? Is this too dull here? I want something else to pop. And then you just have fun. Yeah, I'm really liking it now. And it's close to the end, and I think that is almost the end. There's a few little touch-ups that I saw. So hopefully this inspires you to try something and have fun, most importantly, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.